Hello everybody! Today I'm going to be recommending horror books based on your favourite subgenres. Now there are obviously a lot to pick from, so I have chosen 6 different ones, which are the ones that I read a lot of. And as always, please check content warnings before diving into any of these books. Now the first subgenre that we're going to be talking about, and one that I think I read the most of, is survival. And for this, I would definitely recommend The Ruins by Scott Smith. This is about a group of friends vacationing in Mexico. They decide to go into the jungle to a very remote location where they very quickly become trapped on a giant hill that is overrun by a sinister entity. I won't say exactly what the entity is because I think it's super unique, and if you can go into the book not actually knowing what it is, I think that'll make it a lot more enjoyable. Cut off from any help, the group then attempt to escape, which turns into a brutal fight for their survival, as well as their sanity. This book was also pretty gruesome. It does not hold back in regards to the body horror. There were some scenes in this that genuinely made me feel a little bit sick, but it's still by far one of my favorite survival horrors that I've read in a long time. Now we're gonna get straight on to the next genre, which is body horror. For this, I have chosen Transmuted by Eve Harms. A trans woman who is desperate for gender-affirming surgery volunteers for an experimental treatment from a mysterious and quite shady doctor. At first, everything seems perfect, but then things start to go very wrong and she realizes she's turning into something monstrous. I read this book a few years ago, but even now I still remember some of the scenes. They are burnt into my brain because of how grotesque and shocking they were. Obviously, I've chosen this for the body horror subgenre, so it is undoubtedly going to have a lot of that, but this book is still incredible. I think the body horror in it only lends to the story, as it does with a lot of themes of identity and autonomy. Then we have folk horror, and one of my absolute favorites that I read this year and I can't stop thinking about is Slewfoot. Slewfoot is set in the 1660s in Puritan New England. A young woman named Abatha becomes the target of suspicion from her community when something happens to her husband. She awakens something in the nearby forest and their fates become entangled and they decide to help each other. And it is witchy, there's some female revenge. The artwork in this book is also absolutely stunning. If you're enjoying this video, please subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Next up, we have psychological horror, and I've chosen one of my favorite books full stop, and that is House of Leaves. House of Leaves is a hard one to explain, but the main premise of it is about a family that moves into a new house, and they quickly discover that the inside of the house is actually larger than the outside. The interior changes and things appear where they shouldn't be, and the main story is kind of about exploring this house and discovering some of its mysteries, but there are layers to the narrative, which I think only lends to it being such a psychological book. There is a character that is studying the manuscript about everything that's happening in the house, and that seems like it's really getting to him. The way that the writing is laid out mirrors the story perfectly, and it really can make you feel like you're losing your mind. Then one of my favorite subgenres period is found footage, and a great place to start with this genre is episode 13. If you like the paranormal, if you like ghost hunting reality TV shows, this one is perfect. It's about a ghost hunting reality TV show that are filming their 13th episode at a very sought after location. It's at a building that was used for government experimentation that is now meant to be very haunted. The story is told through video logs, transcripts, and it follows their investigation at this haunted house, as well as following its spiral and descent into something more psychological. I think I liked this one so much because it does remind me a little bit of House of Leaves. I also just love reality TV, especially when it's combined with horror. So if you have any recommendations for found footage, reality TV, horror books, please leave them down in the comments below because I will immediately be adding them to my list. Then lastly, we have cosmic horror, and I have chosen The Hollow Places by T. Kingfisher. T. Kingfisher is one of my auto-buy authors. I absolutely love her horror books, and I think they are the perfect intro to horror as well because she does a great job of combining really creepy concepts, but also making them fun and lighthearted with some humor mixed in there. The Hollow Places is my absolute favorite that I've read so far. It's about a woman that's going through a divorce, and she has moved into her uncle's quirky museum, and there she discovers a hole in the wall that leads to a vast alternate world filled with bunkers and unseen monsters that the more you think about them, the stronger they become. This book is mysterious, there are some genuinely shocking moments, as well as characters that are really likable. If anybody wants to get into the horror genre, I 100% recommend T. Kingfisher. So they are 6 books based on horror subgenres that I really recommend. If you've read any of these books, please let me know your thoughts down in the comments. If you like this video and want more horror recommendations, please subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Bye.